Hello, everybody. Welcome to Cleveland Sports Talk with Zach and Julie. And we have exciting news for the fans of Cleveland Sports Talk. Take it away, Zach.
Well, Cleveland Sports Talk, the Twitter account just surpassed 100,000 followers. So this is an exciting milestone. And we've worked hard for many years, and it's just really cool to see a number like that just to reach that. So it's exciting. And yep, 100,000 followers on Twitter.
That really means a lot these days because a lot of people have left Twitter, but obviously your fans are still there.
Yeah, it means a lot. It represents a lot, just showing, like I said, how much work and effort we've put in, and just that the fans have really stuck with Cleveland Sports Talk, and just that they've appreciated the brand and what we stand for and what we do, and what we've done throughout the course of these many years. So it's just, like I said, a cool number to really surpass. And yeah, just exciting to reach that milestone for sure.
What is your mission with Cleveland Sports Talk?
The goal of Cleveland Sports Talk is essentially, our slogan is built by fans. And so the idea is that we are the brand that is going to tell it like it is, and we are going to um, sort of represent what the fans are for, and that we are a little bit different compared to, say, like your average news company or station that's very formal, or like by the books and for the books. And what we do is much different in the sense that we are, like I described, sort of just by the fans for the fans. So that's our mission, and that's what we've done and what we continue to do. And so yeah, it's very exciting.
So, if we were to poll Browns fans, or put a mirror up to them right now, how are they feeling right now?
I would say cautiously optimistic. After last week, I think everyone felt that last week's game, the team really needed to perform well, just simply because of how disastrous the Steelers game was in many facets. Of course, I could mention Nick Chubb and talk about him, and we could talk about him all season, but it's really unfortunate that occurred, and just the fact that the team lost that game in and of itself was bad. So it was good that last week the team came back and really performed well, on both sides of the ball, but especially the defensive side. The team played a very strong game, and so it was just exciting overall to see the Browns bounce back from the game against the Steelers, like I said, and just play really well in last week's game.
Yeah, I think the Titans were a perfect team for us to play because our, Deshaun, our quarterback, and some of the players needed that confidence builder. I know the Titans, were an easy team to beat. They're pretty weak, but we needed that. Going forward, they know that it's going to be tough because we play Baltimore. And but they, give them a little confidence because the quarterbacks, completions were high and the defense held. I mean, it was really, like you said, on both sides of the ball, well executed, but it's going to be tough. This next game is tough. Are you worried?
Well, I'm always worried with my brownies, but yes, this game against Baltimore, like you said, will be tough after all, with their quarterback, Lamar Jackson, and just their team as a whole. It's not going to be an easy bounce back win like some may expect, but I feel like the Browns will put up a good fight against the Ravens. It'll be a good matchup. It is a home game after all, which is another factor that helps uh, Cleveland, of course. But like we all know, every game is just a sort of coin toss, and you never truly know until it happens, and obviously that's why you play the games. So we'll have to wait and see. Like I've said in every game since I've been born, and yeah, this game against Baltimore, we'll have to wait and see how they bounce back from the really strong performance against the Titans.
Now, what was really interesting is Baltimore's last game against the Colts. What they were not perfect. They made a lot of mistakes. In fact, they could have won in overtime, but they didn't. The Colts ended up beating them in overtime. So, and I don't know how good the Colts are compared to us, but I was excited to see that they lost. And now we're tied in the division with the Ravens and the Steelers. And our division is always so tough. Right now Cincinnati's in the basement, but you know, that's
For
not by
sure,
much.
and it is true. The AFC North always plays tough, and it's like I said with the sort of the coin toss analogy throughout being a Browns fan. Usually, it's the Browns are in the basement, and the other teams are thriving ahead of us. Now we're still in the mix of things as a top dog contender, but with that being said, the other teams in the division are still very good, especially the Ravens, and even the Steelers are good as well. So, yeah, it's going to be a battle this year for sure. And we will continue to fight with our AFC North rivals. And like you said, every year the AFC North has very talented teams.
Well, let's switch back to your Twitter, because I have a couple questions that just kind of popped into my mind. What do you think was some of the key factors in raising such a huge following? Would do you think it's a lot of because of, like, if you look at the different sports, would you say because it is because of the Browns fans?
Well, I definitely think Cleveland is a Browns town first and foremost, just as it is, and it always appears like just looking at, for example, the Twitter, that people sort of gravitate towards the news that is about the football team compared to the other teams and the Cavs and the Guardians. It always seems like the team that people are just most invested in, involved in, it's always the Browns. And I think a lot of it has to do with simply the fact that there just aren't as many games and the season is shorter. And so it makes each game special, and thus the news that is involved with each game and just the team in general is even more special as a whole.
I know this is kind of like old school, but have you ever seen George Carlin, who's a comedian, his routine about football versus baseball?
I actually haven't, but
I'm not surprised because it is kind of old, but it's really funny how
are
he
you
compares.
are you dating yourself
Yes,
as
yes, yes, very much so. I'm sure some of the fans watching will know it, and maybe we could post a link in the comments. But basically, he was a very, very funny comedian from back in the day. He has since passed on, But one of his favorite routines of mine is he's like, football is played on a gridiron, and it's like baseball is played on a little field that goes on, and he's like, football is played with a helmet and baseball is played with a cap, so it's just kind of funny how he compares the two sports. So I'll have to send you the link. But some people watching this or listening to this know what I'm talking about, and they probably enjoy it as well. The two sports are very different for sure. And I think that baseball plays way too many games, way too many games, and it's hard on the players too in regards to injuries, because, and I know they rotate them and everything, but the only reason why they play all the games is money, because they just want to make all the money from all the games, but it's not really good for the athletes.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that the seasons are too long, especially for baseball, but baseball and basketball, just so many games, and it really, like I was saying, kind of takes away from the meaning of each game as a whole. When you have 162 games, people are like, oh, who cares? It's just one little game. And then you'll see it with like the Guardians stadium for a game. It could be like half empty or even more than that, just simply because people don't care enough about each game. Just like when there's a football game, it's one of just a few for the season, whereas the baseball season and basketball season, it's one of 162 or one of 82, and it's just there's so many games that they just don't matter.
Yeah, I agree. I think all the sports should be weekly games. I really do. It's like, then some people actually might go to all the home games for the Guardians and get season tickets like the Browns. It wouldn't be as expensive. It'd be more affordable for them. I don't know. I think they got it all messed up, and it's a tradition. They can't change it, but they set it up wrong from the get-go.
Yeah, I feel like they definitely struggle with advertising and promoting for each of the baseball and basketball games for the season. Whereas football is just like, oh, it's football season and we have just these few games to go to, so we're
Right.
gonna go, and it's real easy.
Well, is there anything else that you want to talk about today?
Well, I just wanted to once again thank everybody who has followed the Twitter account, and just the fact that we reached such a wonderful and tremendous milestone is just a really exciting thing. And it's just, I really appreciate everybody that's helped out, whether it be writers or reporters or people who just simply followed and have been attracted to the brand itself throughout the years. So thank you to everybody, and we appreciate it. And hitting this milestone, of course, like I've been saying, is just very exciting. So once again, thank you, and I appreciate it.
Well, I wish you continued growth, because the more you get, the more you get. So it just kind of keeps rolling.
Oh yeah, we're not finished, and hopefully we'll have even more followers over the course of the football season now, and then just the various seasons as time goes on. So
We should
yes.
also wish happy birthday to Google. They're 25 years old today.
Yeah, I heard that Google turned 25, and it's really weird to think of a time in life when it wasn't just a thing to say, oh, just Google that, or something like in our vocabulary literally is Google it. And yeah, there was a time where that didn't even exist.
Yeah, and I know what other people are, trying to take, Bing and some other search engines have tried to take the limelight away from Google, but I do believe it's still number one for search. I think there's lots of other places that people search, but I think Google is still number one, which is very hard because people have been trying to knock them off.
So, Julie, if people Google your name, do you think they would find a lot of results?
Yes, I've been working very hard on putting stuff out there. With Julie, you'll find Spider Cat Marketing, you'll find Jabbering with Julie. I have a Twitter handle for Spider Cat Marketing that is actually my name. So my Twitter handle is Julie Deloiso, and the description is Spider Cat. So years ago, I really don't think there's another Julie Deloiso on the internet. So I've kind of taken it over. So
It's all you.
that was my job. That was my number one job, taking over the internet for my name. And it's like, okay, did that.
Yeah, people even recognize you when you're just walking around the local supermarket and things like that. See, I feel like people with me in regards to like how you've said before that people recognize you when you're shopping or whatnot. I feel like people with me sort of look at me and think that person looks familiar, but they can't quite place like where they've seen me before. And I've put my picture, of course, on Cleveland Sports Talk um, throughout the course of many years and just for various things. But I'm not like a Taylor Swift or anything like that famous, of course. But uh, just, yeah, I think people have recognized me, but I'm not as famous as you either.
Well, see, I'm famous, like it's more of a small pond kind of thing. It's like the area that you cover is vast, and there's Browns fans and Guardians fans all over the world. But when it comes to Nordonia news, it's mostly a small segment here in our community, and maybe people that have moved away that tune in, but it's a small pond versus big pond.
Right. And Cleveland sports fans are people that are either they grew up in the Cleveland area and then moved to various cities or towns, or just for some reason they live in a different area and like the Cleveland teams. But yeah, it's a lot different than your publication where, like you said, it's a very just small group of just a couple cities that you represent. But of course, you do a great job with that. And so everybody should tune into your publication and what you do as well.
Well, thank you. I do know the Browns have a new fan. Adele has announced that she is now a Browns fan because I guess her partner is a Browns fan.
I did see that, and that's like an example of where you get the rare sort of person that almost like quote unquote comes out as a Browns fan, like it's a bad thing to be. And so it's always funny when things like that happen and why the person is a fan. Like we were saying, usually it's you were born in the Cleveland area or you moved out of town after living in Cleveland, or you had a father or mother or grandfather or whatnot that was a Cleveland fan, something like that. But yeah, and in the rare case, someone just randomly becomes a Cleveland fan, and it's like, well, I'm a Cleveland fan, but I'm ashamed of it, but I am anyway, and I don't care. So I'm gonna continue being a fan, and you could say everything you want, but I don't care.
I thought that was interesting that she shared that. It's like, okay. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of celebrities that are Browns fans. They just don't feel the need that they have to, make a graphic and share it and do all this stuff. So I just thought it was interesting.
Well, one thing that you could note is like, for example, somebody like Travis Kelsey, who's the tight end that now is dating Taylor Swift. He actually went to Cleveland Heights, so that's an example of someone who like grew up in the area but then moved out of town, and they still are relevant. And I just think that it's that whole thing with their relationship is everybody has their opinion on it, but that's just the thing. Everybody literally has an opinion on it, and it's all over town. And so that was just it's a little funny nuance of where he grew up from was in the Cleveland area.
Yeah, we have actually a lot of people that grew up in this area that are from this area and went on to be in other teams. Oh, I also wanted to mention I know the coach Vrabel has a Nordonia connection. His dad used to be the high school principal back in the day. Now he went to Walsh, but his dad was principal at the time when my oldest son was going to Nordonia. So a lot of people don't remember the Vrabel Nordonia connection.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess that that family wasn't too excited about the game last week and how the coach did for them. But one example I will give of, since we're talking about fanhood, is if you take someone like a LeBron James and just how young kids sort of gravitated towards him as a basketball player, uh, and the fact that he played for Cleveland, that's like an example of where you might have people that just become Cleveland fans because of the players. But usually, like I've been saying, you have your sort of grassroots of growing up or having family that grew up here.
Yes, and speaking of growing up here, I have to get going. Busy day. I'm going to be doing another one of my shows today. Hopefully, if I get all the info I need, and there's always so much going on.
Well, I just want to once again thank you for having me on and celebrating this milestone of mine. And of course, I want to thank all the Cleveland Sports Talk fans, and then of course the once again writers, reporters, everybody that's been involved with the brand over the years, and just that it's so cool to reach such a uh, tremendous milestone, like I've been saying. And if you're uh, done celebrating my brand, then you'll have to go and check out Julie's podcast that's coming out. Correct?
Sounds like a plan.
There you go.
And if people are watching this and are on Twitter, they definitely still need to follow you. It's like you're not hitting a ceiling. Let's see if you can go for 200K now.
Oh boy, 200K. Yeah, that seems like a uh, very tall mountain to climb after reaching this one. But yeah, maybe one day in the future, we'll be celebrating 200K, and we'll have another podcast, and we'll be promoting you with your jabbering with Julie for that day. Maybe it's I don't know, 10 years from now, who knows.
Oh, I hope I am still doing a weekly show 10 years from now. I don't know. 10 years is a long time when you're my age.
Yeah, maybe you'll be in your Florida home chilling by the poolside with the uh laptop, just quickly recording something for your 10 years from now. I don't even want to know. So 10 years from now, let's see, I'll be 36. I don't know, maybe I'll have my uh, own sort of family, and we'll be playing catch in the yard, and I'll have my own house and dogs, and everything will be super exciting for 200K.
Wow. 10 years from now, you'll be like, Julie, let's do the show. And I'll be like, Zach, hang on, man. Let me put my teeth in. Because I'll be 71. I'll be like, let me get my applesauce.
And then I'll be like, I still gotta visit my grandmother who's now 98
Yes.
and closing in on 100 for her own, you
I
know,
can't do the live long and
milestone.
prosper thing, but I wish her all the best.
Yeah. And so that'll be an exciting time, and we'll have to come together and play back this episode and laugh at the 10 years ago
Yeah, we'll probably be
podcast that we
watching it on
recorded.
some new device.
Right, it'll be like a sort of Back to the Future type of deal where it's like completely different, and we laughed at the laptops and Zoom, and that we even mentioned Google or anything like that.
When you think about it, these shows that we do are like time capsules.
In a way, they are, and that's just so interesting how people evolve over time just with technology and how things change. And um, we've mentioned a zillion times just about Google and the birthday today. And I mentioned that like there was a time where that wasn't even a thing. So it's just crazy how things evolve over time, and sports evolve over time too. And you look back on the technology used in sports and how everything changes and evolves over time, and we laugh at a lot of things that were done in sports years ago.
Well, anyways, I think we better get going, and you know, maybe we'll do this weekly, maybe midweek talk about the previous game and the upcoming game. It's a good time during the week in between all the excitement.
Oh yeah, and especially with this year and how the Browns have started off, and just like I said, cautiously optimistic. And we cannot get too excited, but at the same time, you don't want to be too pessimistic either, like we usually are. And so this year we're cautiously optimistic, and yeah, we're gonna do our yearly Browns podcast. And like I said, 10 years from now, we'll be talking about our new franchise quarterback, who is some guy who's chilling right now in his house eating ice cream and going to middle school or something.
So true.
Start practicing.
Get out there, take some
Go
reps.
play flag football. Have your mother drive you there. So yeah.
Well, thanks for your time, Zach. See everybody next time.
And thank you once again for having me. This was great.
Anytime.